I mean, we do make an effort at the firm to look at where we're spending our time. It's the Pareto principle that you've talked about on the podcast multiple times, which is you want to make an effort to spend your time on your highest value cases and spend less of your time on your lowest value cases. That doesn't mean it's always possible, but that's the background that you want to have going into how you organize your day, your life, and the effort that you're spending on things.
And it's interesting, but when we were less picky on cases, the Pareto principle definitely applied. We actually were getting sometimes 90 to 92% of our fees on our top 20% of our cases. Mm-hmm. And we were often getting more than half of our fees on our top 5% of cases. Once we got peak year and our averages started, going up, and we started getting, more good cases and stopped working on as many not so good cases, the 80-20 principle is you can't fight a war on three fronts. And so, if liability is disputed, and there's a fight about whether your client was really seriously injured, and there's a fight about whether you could, like, you have a serious injury or not. I mean, is this just degeneration? Do you have prior injuries, or is this something that was definitely caused by the crash? Uh-huh. And then, was the property damage bad enough? Was the crash bad enough to have caused this injury that your client has? If you have to fight all three of those issues, it's really hard to get a jury to go with you on all three and still give you a lot of money.
Right.
So, we're looking for, liability's got to be really clear if we're going to have very little property damage. And, the damages are enough where they've got enough injury where it's worth, we can justify hiring an expert. Those cases are hard. They're not impossible to win with an expert. I mean, I've done it, but they're harder to win with experts. We're trying to only take ones where we can, justify hiring the experts who we need to try it right.
Sometimes you get in a case and you do the investigation, and there's just something about it that isn't what you thought it was going to be. I mean, maybe the science isn't there, or it's a product liability case and the alternative isn't there, or there's a lot of different reasons to get out of a case.
Or you got a video and the video's really bad for you.
Right. Or you got a video and it's not that anybody lied to you. It's just that it's just not what you thought that it was. And sometimes those are worth getting out of too, because if the evidence isn't going to support a good chance of you winning, and you're going to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to explain this new evidence.
Yeah.
What do you do? I mean, you end up losing money, and mostly you end up losing a lot of your time that you could have spent making money somewhere else.
Yeah. I had a huge epiphany when my uncle died. I had an uncle, was a insurance defense lawyer, but was a big mentor to me, even though he was on the claim side, gave me a lot of advice. Actually got me referred from his firm to the first huge cases we ever had. Mm-hmm. Getting to lay land on everybody. And he worked. He was divorced, so he lived in an apartment. He would buy a used car and drive for 10 or 12 years. He never went on vacation. And he had enough money to retire. He had several $1 million in his investment account. And then he gets colon cancer that's already metastasized by the time they caught it, and dies like a year and a half later. He went on one vacation when he was between rounds of chemo. Mm-hmm. And that was it. And it really made me realize, yes, we got to work hard. Mm-hmm. This is not easy stuff we do. You got to put some hours in, but we got to take time to be happy. We get one, we get one ride on this earth, and I want to choose to be happy and enjoy my time. That doesn't mean I'm going to be frivolous and spend every penny I make.
Right.
But I don't want to spend my time working for almost free for toxic people who don't appreciate me and are rude to me.
Yeah.
Are rude to my staff. I don't respect this. I mean, I don't want to spend time working on cases I don't believe in. I don't want to spend every weekend at the office. But I also want to do a great job at my cases and get maximum value. And so how can I do that? Well,
right.
The power it's the power of saying no to things that aren't right for me. And then it's the power of when someone's really ugly, or someone lied to us, or someone's case goes, south, unless there's a compelling reason to do so, say, hey, look, I'm really sorry, but, it doesn't make economic sense for me to continue representing you. I'm not going to do it.
And at the end of the day, I mean, this is not a nonprofit. This is a business. And it is what it is. I mean, if we're not making money, then we're not doing it right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, if we're working all these hours and we're putting all this time in and all this effort in, and it's not successful, well, that doesn't help anybody either. So,
yeah. And being able, having the financial wherewithal to do our cases right and not worry about, are we going to hire an expert? We'd always have the lines of credit run up, sometimes even like put things on the credit card that we're going to pay off 3 months later, 6 months later, if the case settled. I mean, there were some scary times coming up, and it's because we took on too much, we didn't say no enough, and we made some bad economic decisions because of that. And I think part of it was legitimately wanting to help.
Yeah.
Part of it was hubris, thinking I could win every case. But part of it was just the fear of, if I say no to this case, I won't get the next big case.
Yeah. They're taking note about what you're doing on the other side, and it affects the value of your case. If you're the kind of lawyer that's not going to be ready for the first trial setting, you're also the kind of lawyer that's not going to get a very good offer right at first, right? Yeah. I mean, it's, what you want to do is be ready the first time that you're able to go. If it's possible, there's always reasons that it can't be. Your client's still treating. There's some other issue. I mean, COVID, whatever there's always a reason that it can't be. But if that is how you practice with that goal in mind, right, it makes a huge difference for how quickly your case moves.
Yeah. I mean, I still like the goal of from crash to cash within 12 months.
Yeah.
Ideally, COVID has really messed us up on this.
Yeah.
Because we have a litigation-based practice. But ideally, from the time the case comes into our office, within 12 months, we want that lawsuit filed, we want trial date set. Hopefully, within the 12-month period, if we get the court will do it and get it resolved or tried, in the first 12 months. So,
limiting the docket size at the firm counterintuitively has made everybody happier, but also has made everybody more money.
Yeah.
And the more we limit it, it seems like people just aren't going to have enough to work on, or they're, if we worked up cases the same way we did 10 years ago, the way we do now, people wouldn't have enough to work on. But now spending that extra time on each of these cases has really paid off.
Yeah, the values have gone up, and you feel better about what you do.
Yeah, it's more fun.
and you're able to find those cases where you could really hold out for top number. But even on our medium-sized cases, we're getting at least 150, if not 200% of what we're getting on the same injury, same type of wreck in 2014, because we're able to put more thought and effort into them. And also because we're able to keep up with our clients, and we're not having as many big gaps in treatment.
And issues and other kinds of things. And like I said before, we're getting things done in a timely way, showing that we're ready, being proactive instead of reactive. All of that gets reported back, and it makes your case more valuable and more likely to settle quickly.
People respect you more when you say no. The more boundaries you set, the more you say, this is what I do, this is what I don't do, they respect you. And I learned that I was with a referring lawyer once, and I said no to a case. He goes, "Oh, that's okay. I'll give it to so-and-so. He takes all the trash." Now, that lawyer was thinking by taking these smaller, harder cases, like I used to think, well, when he gets a good one, he's going to give me that case. No, he's not going to give that lawyer. That's the trash lawyer.
Yeah.
He's going to give him all the trash cases. He was going to bring me the good cases. But he didn't think of me as a good lawyer until I started saying no to the trash cases.
Yeah.
And, this particular lawyer was, number two on our average fee. Our number of referrals from him has gone way down, but he was number two on average fee and number two on total fees. Even though he had fewer cases than almost anyone else, they were all so good.
Yeah,
it's a great relationship, and he's a good friend too. But because I started saying no to the smaller stuff, when he got the bigger stuff, he thought, well, he's a big case lawyer. Well, when I took smaller cases, then I was a small case lawyer.